Committee regular meeting for Saturday, December the 21st, 2024 will now come to order at 9 a.m. May I ask Ms. Grace Goodeagle to lead us in the invocation this morning? Thank you, Ms. Grace. Linda Valier, Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take roll call and declare quorum?
Madam Chair. Chair Superdall.
Present.
Vice Chair McKibben. Secretary Treasurer Valier. Present. Member Mercer.
Present.
Member Davis.
Present.
Member Buffalo.
Present.
Member Gibbswater.
Present.
Madam Chair, I declare a quorum.
Would you please call for the orders of the day?
Madam Chair, I call for the orders of the day.
Thank you. Business Committee, are there any corrections to the documents listed as part of the consent agenda? That consent agenda includes the meeting minutes for the November 16th, 2024 meeting, the directors and subcommittee reports as submitted. Hearing no objections, we'll go ahead and proceed to the vote. All those in favor of adopting and approving the November 16th, 2024 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports as distributed, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The November 16th, 2024 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports are adopted as distributed. We'll go ahead and proceed to the Business Committee report. Just to let everybody know, we are having some technical difficulties this morning, so Zoom is not active. I know that IT will continue to try to resolve that, but we will proceed even with the absence of Zoom. The following tribal members passed away since we last met: Kelly Ann Jackson, Thomas Goodeagle, Charlotte Hoffman, and Eleanor Ann Superdall. Please lift these Quapaw families and all families in your prayers, and let us join in a moment of silence. We do have some announcements. Member Mercer, would you please provide a Ray Property Homes O-Guah-Pah Tikida project update?
If you've been by, you'll see that we have the streets are paved, asphalted rather. We have 8 homes up there, probably 99% complete. We still need some sidewalks, and then up to the house itself. All the drive pads are in. On the other side of the street, we have 9 and 10 ready for cabinets and trim. And we've got sheetrock hung and a couple others. We lack one home of the first 16 with siding, or 1 1/4, because they lack a little bit on number 15. Cold has just stopped them. And we are getting ready for our 17th home. I saw they had put the roof together, so they'll be standing the walls on it hopefully next week, depending on the holidays and the weather. And we will be going up with the 17th. And we hope to have all those done probably sometime in the April, May. That's it, Madam Chair.
Wonderful progress report. Thank you. Vice Chairman McKibben and Secretary Treasurer Valier attended the White House Tribal Summit meeting earlier this month. Would you guys please both share with us the summit topics and other meetings conducted during your trip to Washington, D.C.?
My apologies. Chairwoman Stephanie Bryan from the Porch Band Creeks, and the moderator was Liz Molly Carr. And these folks just had a wealth of information to share. And then in the afternoon, it was the panel on strengthening the nation-to-nation relationship, which included the Secretary of Interior Deb Haaland, Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack, Chair of Council on Environmental Quality Brenda Mallory, Cherokee Chief Chuck Hoskin, and Jamal Indian Village Chairwoman Erica Pinto, and the moderator was Brian Newland, who's the Assistant Secretary of Indian Affairs. And again, there's just a wealth of knowledge up there that's it's almost overwhelming. It's information overload when they start talking about all the things that are going on in Indian country. And we actually got to see the president and the vice president as well. So.
Nice. While we were there, we also took the time on the next day to go visit our congressmen and our senators. So we went to go visit the staff of Oklahoma Congressman Josh Burkeen, the staff of Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, as well as the staff of Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. We did this to discuss the presentation of a bill into Congress to appropriate the funds for the bear settlement. We feel like our visit with each one of those offices was productive, and hopefully we're encouraged that there is positive movement toward getting the bill presented to Congress and hopefully passed by both the House and the Senate sooner rather than later. So they were working on the bill, and they were trying to get it so that they at least had a bill number to be able to introduce.
Thank you both. Sure, I'm glad you were both able to attend, and I know it was a pretty short notice, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
Member Buffalo, are there any additional updates regarding the bear settlement legislation?
Yes, Madam Chairman. I'll read a note that you sent me, and it came from Josh Burkeen's office. We officially filed H.R. 10472 to authorize the Secretary of Treasury to make payments to the Quapaw Nation and certain members of the Quapaw Nation in accordance with the recommendation of the United States Court of Federal Claims and for other purposes. According to the congressional report I was reading, that bill is now in the Natural Resources Committee to go through the text of it. And shouldn't expect any action this year on it. It'll probably be the first Congress under Trump. And, I would be remiss to not thank a few people, especially Chairman Supinall. We made a visit to the Capitol several months ago, the whole business committee. She gave some eloquent presentations in support of the bill. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Drummond Woodson and their staff, the legal counsel for the nation, Pace, who's our lobbyist in Washington, D.C. And I hope I didn't miss anybody, but I think we've turned the bend of a bumpy road. It's going to be bumpy. For the best.
That is outstanding progress. So the House bill was dropped on Wednesday, the 18th. It was also dropped in the Senate the following day on the 19th. So I think that's, and then it immediately went into the Indian Affairs Subcommittee. And that, I know that Senator Mullen is a part of that Indian Affairs Committee. That helps us to have such strong folks from the Oklahoma delegation on these subcommittees. The Natural Resource Committee is actually chaired by Bruce Westerman, who is over the congressional district where Saracen is. So, you know, these seemingly unrelated events are actually quite tied together and I think operating in our favor. Thank you. Thank you, Member Buffalo. Good progress.
Madam Chair, what I'd like
12 to 5 at the Cahota Family Service Craft Room. It's open to individuals aged 5 to 24. Class size is limited, so please sign up. Quapaw Historic Preservation Program is holding another book club that's starting at 6 p.m. on January 9th here in the community building. They'll be discussing The Rumble of a Distant Drum by Morris S. Arnold. A meal will be provided, and they ask that you bring your place setting. Additional details can be found online. On to the casino reports. Quapaw Casino, for the month ending October, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization totaled $373,000 with a margin of 18.4%. This result exceeded budgeted expectations by $53,000 and represents an increase of $51,000 from October of last year. So this was a really solid start to fiscal year 25. The new Quapaw Casino development continues with the pre-construction phase. We had a request for a proposal, and that decision is outstanding, where we're selecting audit firm for construction financial controls. All the interviews have been completed with all the shortlist candidates, and we're just getting ready to make a decision on that. If you recall, last month we did not have the Downstream Casino and Resort October results, so I'm going to go through a bit of both October and roll into November quickly. October was disappointing, and it was a disappointing start to fiscal year 2025 for Downstream. For the month ended October 31st, EBITDA totaled $6.3 million with a margin of 35.6%. And that missed budgeted expectations by $1.1 million, and definitely less than October of last year. Net income for the month totaled $4.9 million with a margin of 27.9% and represents a negative budget variance of $0.8 million. Debt reduction continued in September with an additional payment of $7.5 million. So that brings the total debt eliminated to $174.5 million in the 35-month period since the restructure closed. And our next quarterly payment is due here in another week on December the 31st. Now, bounce back from the bad news of October, November was an extremely good month for Downstream. In fact, net revenue was the best in Downstream's history. For the month ended November 30th, EBITDA totaled $8.7 million with a margin of 45.5%, and that result exceeded budgeted expectations by $1.3 million, and that was $1.3 million greater than November of last year. So November made up and exceeded our October deficit by $123,000, so we were able to regain that ground back, which is great. Net income for the month totaled $7.2 million with a margin of 37.6%, and represents a positive budget variance of $1.5 million. So that's good. So in October, Downstream began offering their employees, their team members, a free hot meal every day. And due to the improvements in the dining room operations, that cost is being absorbed. We sure are glad for the Downstream employees to have that access. On to Saracen. Net gaming revenues in November exceeded prior year and budget, finishing at a record $19.2 million, beating the previous record months back in 24 and 23, so it was great. Both finished nearly at $18 million. Volumes in slots and sportsbook exceeded expectations and exceeded prior year. So combining high volumes with a strong hold for each accounted for a record net gaming revenue. Slots win was the 5th best month experienced by Saracen, and sportsbook was the best month ever since it's been introduced. Considerable progress has been made on the development of the hotel and event center. From a budget perspective, the development is about 40.8% complete, so we're just shy of halfway there. And of course, we're still looking at a fall of 2025 opening, and those details to come. So Saracen Casino Resort team, they continue progress on these significant projects, especially in terms of diversifying cash flows and providing the best gaming experience to our guests. So their focus continues on building a premier experience for patrons and the Quapaw Nation. This concludes the Business Committee report. Gunagay. All right, let's go on to the subcommittee reports. O-Guah-Pah Wisdom Keepers. Getting you a microphone, Barbara. Thank you, John E.
Oh, Grace.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Grace. O-Guah-Pah Wisdom Keepers. My apologies, I said it wrong. That explains Barbara's look. Yeah.
We did not have a meeting this month in anticipation of our involvement with the Christmas dinner later today. However, in the meantime, we did want to thank the chairman for sending us the Elders Speak, which is a newsletter. And so we did receive that, so we thank you for that. To follow up on a couple of things, we had the Wisdom Keepers had made a suggestion to the Business Committee for their consideration about notices when deaths happen in our families. If there was some kind of way that people could get information about the death of someone, a tribal member, and that kind of thing. So we did submit that. Also, to thank the Business Committee for honoring our elders who were mentioned at the AARP Oklahoma Elders Events, which was quite an event. And again, we thank you, Business Committee, for that. I would at some point like to make a report on the trip that some of us made to the Angel Mounds in Indiana. It was quite an event, and rather than take the time right now for a full report, I would just mention that on November the 14th, Carrie V. Wilson, Bill Griffin, and I attended the reopening of the museum at Angel Mounds. It turned out to be quite an event, and there were a number of people there at the event, but for me, it was thrilling to be at Angel Mounds. This was my first time there. The O-Guah-Pah built mounds, and this was one of the earliest ones in Indiana. And there are mounds in Tennessee, on the east side of the Mississippi, and certainly there is a large one in Arkansas. So it was quite an event, and they did send something for the Quapaw tribe, but I noticed afterwards that it was made to the Quapaw tribe of Oklahoma. And during my remarks that I made, I said, well, we are now the Quapaw Nation. So they're redoing it. So, but what it was inscribed was presented by Indiana State Museum and Historic Sites in commemoration of current and future collaboration in the stewardship of Angel Mounds. And so when that is received, then I will be presenting that to the Quapaw Nation. Ganagay.
Thank you, Grace. And I'm so glad that you, Bill, and Carrie V. Wilson were able to attend that opening. Great. Go on to the Cultural Committee now, Barbara. Sorry.
That's okay, thank you. The Cultural Committee has been very busy this past month, and we did touch on several things. Upcoming there'll be an exhibit, a new exhibit presentation at Downstream with that used to be there in the lobby of dress that was made by Alicia Thomas. And they've had a new cabinet that's going to be on display there, along with the explanation of the clothing that's displayed. We discussed that will be upcoming for everyone to see. Fall gathering, the committee thought was very successful. Overall, the positive points that were mentioned were the meal and the treaty, of course, being on site, and the hand games, the foot races, all the events. Everyone was satisfied with it, with the exception of one thing, and that was the turnout. The committee is concerned about the turnout of a lot of the activities that we have, and so therefore we have invited for our January month, and the business committee also is invited to attend if you're available. We know you're busy, but other departments and other committees to join us to possibly get a solution to this, like the Easter egg hunt, have all of this at the same time for a spring gathering, and possibly that would get more people involved and get a better crowd from others attending if it was all at one time. So instead of having one day and one the next, and so on and so forth. So we've invited other departments to meet with us at our next meeting in January, and we hope that we can accomplish getting that. Possibly, like some of the other tribes, advertise their events on television, on some of the local television spots. Perhaps the communication department, which they plan to attend, will be able to assist in doing something like that. Going on to the next item, we talked about the coffee communicate. The coffee will be available this month, I think. Maybe possibly it already is, unbeknownst to me. But Lindsay Hickey met with us concerning the name and the packaging of that, and that was all positive. We had our open house, was very successful, except again for the people that came. Of course, it turned off to be very cold and windy that day, so that probably had something to do with it. But we had the band there called Tragic Prelude, which has 2 Quapaw tribal members participate in that, and they were very good, and all of the songs and information, the music that they provided was very, very nice and very positive. Everyone that attended, there was probably about 40 people, maybe 50, that attended in all, and it was a good time was had by all. I met with a man named Mike Rush. He's from Arkansas, and he has a program called underview.com. It's a podcast, which I know nothing about what that is, but anyway, it is expected to go live in March, and so there'll be something very positive about that on his program, underview.com. if anybody knows about what that is. And lastly, we discussed, Grace was there and she discussed about their trip to Angel Mounds, which was very nice and very positive for the tribe, we felt. Discussion was also made, and apparently I'm supposed to send a letter, which I just reminded myself when I was reviewing these information. Recommendations regarding the princess and some of the things that have taken place this past year under the tribal princess information. So we will be submitting that to the business committee as soon as possible. And also, it's been mentioned to us several times after the treaty was here that people would like copies of a treaty, and they asked if there was a booklet or something like that. Of course, the tribe has several treaties, I think probably 5 or 6 at least, and those are all on file at the museum. But we thought perhaps maybe a booklet of some kind could be in-house printed off, made available, where if people wrote in and wanted a copy of all the treaties, that they could, have that available. So we've suggested that. And then, of course, the elders meeting, the elders dinner will be tonight, and most of us plan to attend. So thank you very much, and thank you for all your help with the fall gathering. We felt it was very successful, except we were disappointed in the turnout, of course. I'm going to try and fix that.
Thank you, Barbara. And the BC did receive the recommendations the Culture Committee had put together, so that was really good suggestions to make things better going forward.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I have a little bit more to add, but I forgot about it. Sorry.
All right. Next up, Constitution Committee, Roman Cahiga.
Good morning. The Constitution Committee over the past month has had a writing session. We had held a 12-day writing session in the month of November, and it was very successful. The Constitution has been submitted to our first legal counsel for opinion and review on structure and setup. And then we're still continuing to meet and work on different tenets, but largely the Constitution is taking shape. There will be a focus group that we're putting together to get some advanced opinion about what's. They're open this weekend. Yeah. To get an advanced opinion about some tribal members' take on the content. So.
That's a lot of work on a part of the Constitution Committee as well as tribal members. So thank you to everybody who's made a contribution in those writing sessions, and glad to hear it's already gone to legal for their review. Wonderful.
So the plan from here is once it returns, we're going to compile these initial feedback. We do have a couple more opinions to get. One of them is a pro bono opinion. Stanford has offered their services and taking a look and helping with the project also. So that's fantastic. That's going to go out, and that'll probably be a more in-depth review as we move forward.
Thank you.
Roman, and everyone, last month, whenever we were doing the appointments and reappointments to all of the committees, the Constitution Committee still had a vacancy to fill. I'd like to go ahead and formally appoint Melissa Morris to the Constitution Committee with a term expiration of December 2025.
I concur. Others?
Concur.
Wonderful. Could you send her contact information? Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Election Committee, Frank Frazier.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Basically, we are still looking at our love-hate relationship with our clickers. We did contact some companies and got some response, and we have some to show you to look at. We're still going to proceed with this because we're still not completely satisfied with what we've been getting. But IT has been very helpful in doing this. Mikael has been above and beyond researching and helping us out. One we have here looks like a key fob. No display, so you wouldn't know when you voted, what it was, or anything, so we didn't like that too much. We had another one here, a smaller one, which does have a display. It looks like a little miniature calculator, but it does have a display which would allow you to see what you punched in. That was one thing. This one, a company, is exactly like the one we have our out. When we purchased these, we purchased this from a company where this one guy was like a one-man shop. Well, since he started this business, the guy that sold all these was murdered. Yes. And basically, there is no technical support when we have a problem. That's why, we're out there walking around, holding them up, looking at them, punching them off and on and everything. And the IT department has done a super great job at keeping these things running. But we're basically probably on some sort of a deadline. At some point, like everything electronic, when they go dead, they will be dead. So we are still going to proceed in trying to locate a replacement for that. And on another thought, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. This is a good time for everybody to be happy. I know there have been some bad things happen. People have lost family members, relatives, and such. But for the most part, this is the time to be happy and celebrate the year. We made another successful year. We're going to have an elders party tonight. The elders are real happy about that. And I just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Frank. So the election committee is going to continue searching for other alternatives. You've got
Yes.
one on your short list, but you're going to continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's on our short list, but it looks kind of like a very miniature type of calculator. And
Transmit? Okay.
yeah, we run into places where they said we'd have to split the room into Group A and Group B. You would have to sit in Group A. Yeah, we're not going to tell people where they can sit and everything like that. So we're still going to be doing some research, and it's an ongoing project. And we do want to get our, thankfully these have actually been working pretty good for the last year, maybe because we've used them so much. But
Thanks to IT.
yes, IT's done an incredible job for us. We really appreciate them. But that's pretty much it. We are, I guess, going to be the focal point, one of the focal points of our next special general council, and we'll be explaining more on that come January. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. I see Chayton. Anything from the grounds subcommittee?
Nothing from the grounds right now.
Any other subcommittees? Okay, so that concludes the subcommittees. Is Cuggy here for the Downstream Development Authority, Quapaw Casino Authority? No? Okay, moving on. On to the executive director reports. So the executive director reports, are targeted to the Business Committee. And if others in attendance this morning have questions regarding those reports, please pose your questions during open forum. Those reports were posted to the tribal website earlier this week. Eric Boone, CFO, do you have anything to report beyond your submitted report?
I have nothing to add, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Eric. Trenton Stand, Executive Director of Resource Management, do you have anything beyond your submitted report?
I have nothing further to add, Madam Chair. We're at 891 as of yesterday on the food distribution, so hopefully they're lined up out there this morning. So
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a good thing. Steve Stand, Executive Director, Tribal Member Services, do you have anything else to report this morning?
No, I do not have anything further to add, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Jerry Helms, Executive Director, Quapaw Facilities Authority, do you have anything to report beyond what you submitted?
I have nothing to add, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Jerry. I know Charles Addington is traveling on Quapaw Nation business right now. In his place, Deputy Chief of Investigation Mike Mullen, do you have anything else to report this morning?
Nothing further to add, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I know Everett Bandy, he is in process of flying back on Quapaw Nation business, so was unable to attend this morning, but his report has been submitted to the tribal website. Barry Lindiff, Executive Director, O-Guah-Pah Communications, I don't see him. Do we have anything else to report? Nothing else, Austin. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go on to the reading, correction, and approval of the phone polls, and there were 5 of them. Let's see. Member Gibbswater, would you please take the first one?
Yeah. Poll number 38815. A resolution to amend Resolution 092124-G. A resolution to update the purchase price of the Oklahoma natural gas installation for food sovereignty. This was sent to poll because of the amount on the invoice has been corrected and the wash and pack house needs gas. There's an approval count of 7. Certified date was 11/19/24 at 3:37 p.m.
Thank you. Member Davis, would you please take the next one?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Poll number 39497. This was the poll to approval of a Saracen Development Agreement. This poll is to approve a collective agreement with corporation for a 10-year term. This was recommended for approval by the DDA on November 26, 2024. This was sent to a poll to prevent delaying in the design and construction of this agreement. There was an approval count of 7, and the certified date was 12/2/2024 at 12:28 p.m.
Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take the next one?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Poll number 39801, authorizing signing of management solution agreement. This poll is to authorize the Quapaw Nation Chair to sign and facilitate the management solution agreement between the Quapaw Nation and a payroll company. This was sent to a poll so that the company could start the process to complete the required processes required by federal law by the end of the year. There was an approval count of 7. The certified date is 12/5/24.
All right, I'll go ahead and take the next one. Poll number 40168, Economic Impact Group Analysis. Poll is for approving the Quapaw Nation Chair to sign a memorandum of understanding for the Economic Impact Group United for Oklahoma Analysis, which will activities within the state of Oklahoma. It will provide an estimate of the aggregate of all tribal government, business, roads expenditure, and other capital expenditure impact, including the direct impact of each and the full impact, taking into consideration all related economic impact or economic activity. This was sent to a poll to expedite the analysis. It was approved unanimously and certified on December the 18th. Vice Chairman McKibben, would you please take the next one?
Yes, ma'am. Poll number 40174 is the submission of a USDA Forest Service grant. This poll is approving the execution of the USDA Forest Service Wood Products Infrastructure Assistance Funding application for a grant. This was sent to a poll because the due date was December 18, 2024. It was approved 7-0 and was certified on 12/18/24 at 3:04 p.m.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve all of the polls.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the phone polls. BC, is there any discussion? Hearing none, let's proceed to the vote. All those in favor of approving the phone polls, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and the phone polls are approved. All right, we're going on to new business. Member Buffalo, would you please take the first one?
Resolution number 1221224-A. A resolution to approve prototype programmatic agreements between the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Louisiana Natural Resource Conservation Service State Office, and the Quapaw Nation regarding conservation assistance. Whereas the NRCS Louisiana State Office has consulted with the Quapaw Nation Tribal Historic Preservation Officer and followed the instruction of the ACHP letter in developing this prototype programmatic agreement, and whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee desired to approve such agreement effective immediately upon the execution by the last party to sign in interest of protecting the nation's valuable and irreplaceable culture and historical information and resources. Now therefore be it resolved that the prototype programmatic agreement between the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Louisiana Natural Resource Conservation Service State Office, and the Quapaw Nation regarding conservation assistance is hereby approved, and further that the chair is hereby authorized to execute and deliver such agreement on behalf of the nation. Madam Chair, I so move to adopt.
We have a motion and a second to approve 122124-A. Business Committee, is there any further discussion on this programmatic agreement? Let's go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 122124-A, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries and Resolution 122124-A is approved. Member Mercer, would you please take B?
Yes, Madam Chair. Resolution number 122124B. This is a resolution to approve a professional service agreement with the Okmulgee County Criminal Justice Authority, OCCJA. Whereas the Quapaw Nation wishes to enter into an agreement with OCCJA for the purpose of detaining non-educated youthful offenders under the age of 18 and non-educated youthful offenders between the ages of 18 and 20, which are called tweeners, and collectively with a juvenile, a detainee, in the Okmulgee County Jail located in Okmulgee, Oklahoma, for the nation. And I'll just comment right there, it is so difficult today to find a facility close that will take this age group here, and you don't want to put them out with the hardened criminals. And whereas the Business Committee, after consulting with legal counsel who has advised them on the terms set forth in the agreement, believes that it is in the best interest of the nation to approve the agreement. Therefore, be it resolved that the Business Committee finds the professional service agreement juvenile is necessary for the public health and safety of its members. Be it further resolved that the Business Committee hereby approves the OCCJA professional service agreement. Therefore, be it resolved that the chairman, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and each member of the Business Committee be and each acting singly hereby is authorized to execute and enter on behalf of the nation the OCCJA agreement in substantially the same form attached hereto and any related agreements or documents with such changes as such authorized person in his or her discretion determines to be advisable, the advisability of which shall be conclusively evidenced by his or her execution thereof, and to perform such further and additional actions as may be necessary or convenient in order to effectuate the foregoing resolutions. And that was a mouthful. Madam Chair, I recommend we adopt resolution number 122124B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 122124-B. Business Committee, is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, let's go to the vote. All those in favor of approving 122124-B, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries and Resolution 122124-B is approved. Member Gibbs Water, would you take C?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 122124-C. A resolution authorizing the submission of the Bureau of Indian Affairs Tribal Energy Development Capacity Grant, TEDC. Whereas the Tribal Energy Development Capacity Grant Program seeks to develop the tribal management, organizational, and technical capacity needed to maximize the economic impact of energy resource development on federally recognized tribal land. TEDC grant equips federally recognized tribal entities to regulate and manage their energy resources through the development of organizational and business structures and legal and regulatory infrastructure. The TEDC grant may only fund projects occurring on Indian land as defined in under 25 U.S.C. 3502. Whereas the Quapaw Nation appoints John Jackson Jr., Quapaw Services Authority Construction Project Manager, the point of contact for the TEDC grant, and wishes to submit this grant application and commit to complying with the grant award requirements fully, and therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee authorizes the submission of the Tribal Energy Development Capacity Grant application and all required documents. Madam Chair, I also move to approve resolution number 122124-C.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 122124-C. Business Committee, is there any additional discussion?
Yes, ma'am. The accuracy of this employee is not a Quapaw Service Authority employee. And without elaborating more on personnel issues, as far as construction project manager as well, kind of just brings into question the accuracy of that portion of this resolution.
We do know that as far as the HR records are concerned, the reflection on this resolution is consistent with those records. Would you suggest, I'm just trying to see how we can move forward, are you suggesting that we await the update on those internal records and then restrike the resolution to reflect that properly as an employee of Quapaw Facilities Authority?
I would like us to possibly change the point of contact to Eric Boone. Eric is very thorough and trust his judgment. He's a good steward with our tribe's finances.
Are you making a motion to amend the resolution to update the point of contact?
I am.
I would second that motion.
All right, so we have a motion to amend and a second to update the point of contact from John Jackson Jr. to Eric Boone, the CFO. I'm just repeating that to make sure everybody's aware of what we're doing to this. Brent, did you get all that? All right. So first, we're going to vote on the amendment, and then we're going to vote on the resolution. Am I doing that right? Okay. BC, is there any further discussion?
I
All
would
right.
just like to, just one thing. I can agree that the Quapaw Services Authority is out of whack because on the org chart he falls underneath the Quapaw Facilities Authority. As for the point of contact, John Jackson has been working on this particular grant for months now with a team of people. And I can agree with adding Eric Boone into that to make sure, because he's very peculiar and he's very precise on the way he handles processes. And I've seen that, I understand that, and I trust his judgment as well. But as far as changing the point of contact, I don't want to go so far down the road with somebody and then turn around and wipe the plate clean and start anew to only disrupt further progress. I think our nation's went through that enough. But that's my only comment.
Good thoughts, good thoughts. 'Cause on this, what it would end up doing is change literally the point of contact. It still authorizes us to submit the grant documents.
The grant, yeah.
Anything else that's required.
Yeah.
Any other discussion, Business Committee? Okay, all those in favor of adopting the amendment, and the amendment is to update the point of contact to CFO Eric Boone, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so that's Member Mercer and Member Gibbswater. Okay. The amendment carries. That is approved to update the point of contact to Eric Boone. Now we're going to go back to vote on the actual resolution. Did we already have a motion and a second?
Yes.
All right, so now we're back in discussion for the overall resolution. Business Committee, is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing nothing further, all those in favor of approving resolution number 1221-24-C as amended, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries, and resolution 1221-24-C is approved as amended. All right, so let's go on to D. Member Davis, would you please take that one?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is resolution number 1221-24-D, as in David. A resolution to approve 4 cross-department memorandums of understanding. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee, in an effort to support the completion of initiatives, 4 memorandums of understandings need to be implemented amongst the higher education, facilities, IT, and food sovereignty department. The MOUs allow for the obligation of funding and other material support from outside of the departments. The initiatives being supported are internships, housing, equipment, software, and the food sovereignty wash and pack building. Therefore, be it resolved that the 4 cross-department memorandums of understanding are approved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. Madam Chair, I so move to adopt Resolution 1221-24-D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 1221-24-D. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go to the vote. All those in favor of approving 1221-24-D, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. Resolution 1221-24-D is approved. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take E as in Edward?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Resolution 122124-E, a resolution approving the 2025 Social Services Guidelines for Quapaw Nation Social Services Department. Whereas the current 2024 Social Service Department program guidelines for the Quapaw Nation require updating for organizational procedures and structure. Therefore, be it resolved that the attached new 2025 Social Services Department program guidelines for the Quapaw Nation Social Services Department have been updated and are hereby revised for the operation of the Social Services Department program and shall constitute policy until such time the Quapaw Nation Business Committee deems it necessary and prudent to modify or change these guidelines. Madam Chair, I move to adopt Resolution number 122124-E.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 1221-24-E. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 1221-24-E, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. Resolution 1221-24-E is approved. All right, I'll take the next one. It's Resolution 1221-24-F. F as in Frank. It's a resolution to authorize the leasing of tribal land to the United States government pursuant to Section 105L of Public Law 93-638. Whereas the Department of Interior requires tribes and tribal organizations to certify that all information provided by the tribe or tribal organization for purposes of the calculating lease compensation under Section 105L of Public Law 93-638 is true and correct, and therefore be it resolved, Stacia Forbes, Quapaw Nation Director, Realty Trust Services, is authorized to submit a lease proposal to the United States Department of Interior for the following facilities pursuant to Public Law 93-638. Therefore, be it resolved, Catherine Weena, Supernaut, Chair of the Quapaw Nation Business Committee, is authorized to negotiate and execute said lease agreement and to take all measures necessary to implement said lease agreement for calendar year 2025 and subsequent lease periods for which funds are available. And therefore, be it finally resolved, Trenton Stand, Quapaw Nation Executive Director of Resource Management, is hereby designated as the appropriate official to verify the information provided by the tribe or tribal organization for purposes of calculating lease compensation under Section 105L of Public Law 93-638, and is hereby authorized to attest to the accuracy of such. I move that we approve Resolution 122124-F.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 122124-F. Business Committee, is there any discussion? I would like to add a few things that this 105 lease, this has been a long time coming. There has been an incredible amount of analysis by both Realty as well as primarily the Department of Public Safety to ensure that the properties that we're talking about, where we actually lease them back to the federal government and they pay us, which is kind of a really nice thing, it has taken a Herculean amount of work, square footage analysis of the use of the space, market appraisals of the properties themselves to ensure that they are fair market value. So good job to all of the departments involved. A lot of input from our General Legal Counsel, Drummond Woodsum, and special call out to both Trenton Stand as well as Charles Addington to get us to this point. Thank you. Any additional discussion? All those in favor of adopting Resolution 122124-F, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. Resolution 122124-F is approved. Vice Chairman McKibben, would you please take G?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 122124-G, a resolution to adopt the Quapaw Nation Cybersecurity Incident Response Team Charter. Whereas to strengthen the Quapaw Nation cybersecurity readiness and ensure effective response to cyber incidents, the Quapaw Nation Information Technology Department has developed a comprehensive charter for the establishment of a cybersecurity incidents response team, CIRT, which will coordinate closely with other law enforcement and regulatory agencies as needed to protect the nation's assets, data, and interests. Therefore, be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee formally adopts the CIRT charter as binding law within the Quapaw Nation. This charter shall serve as the guiding document for cybersecurity incident management, enforcement, and reporting within the Quapaw Nation, ensuring a clear chain of command, defined roles, and standardized procedures for handling cybersecurity threats. Therefore, be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee directs the CIO, Chief Information Officer, to ensure that all members of the CIRT are adequately trained and prepared to execute the procedures outlined in the charter. CIRT personnel roster, as well as designated points of contact, shall be published on the Quapaw Nation's official website along with the full text of the charter. This resolution shall take effect on January 1st, 2025, providing sufficient time for the proper implementation and dissemination of the charter's policies and procedures. And moving on to the next related resolution, resolution number 122124-H, a resolution to adopt the Quapaw Nation Cybersecurity Planning Committee Charter. Whereas the Quapaw Nation acknowledges the increasing importance of cybersecurity in protecting the Quapaw Nation's data, infrastructure, and sovereignty, and recognizes the need for a dedicated committee to advise, guide, and enhance cybersecurity measures, ensuring compliance with federal standards and safeguarding the interests of Quapaw Nation and its citizens. Therefore, be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee formally adopts the Cybersecurity Planning Committee, CSPC, charter as a binding framework for cybersecurity governance within the Quapaw Nation. The charter shall provide guidance for the advisory board responsible for drafting, amending cybersecurity and computer usage policies, ensuring adherence to federal cybersecurity grant requirements, advising on the allocation of related funds, and maintain service continuity in the event of critical personnel changes. Therefore, be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee Chair is directed to appoint the initial members of the CSPC during the January 2025 Business Committee meeting. The CSPC shall hold its first meeting within 30 days of the appointment. The committee will be charged with delivering a comprehensive cybersecurity policy, including recommendations for a designated service provider for business committee review and adoption within 6 months of the CSPC's appointment. The business committee shall also ensure that information regarding the CSPC's activities, meeting schedules, and membership details are published on the Quapaw Nation website to maintain transparency and accessibility. I move to adopt resolution number 122124-G and also adopt resolution number 122124-H.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to approve resolutions 122124G and H. Business Committee, is there any further discussion on either one of these? All those in favor of approving 122124-G and H, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Resolutions 122124-G and 122124-H are approved. Member Buffalo, would you please take the last one?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 122124I, a resolution to approve the FY 2024 annual performance report to be submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Southern Plains Office of Native American Programs. Whereas the governing resolution delegates authority to the Quapaw Nation Business Committee to speak and act on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee is the managing entity for the HUD-Nahazda Indian Housing Block Grant. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee has reviewed the annual performance report for FY 2024, and therefore be it resolved the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby approves the FY 2024 annual performance report to be submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Southern Plains Office of Native American Programs. Madam Chair, I move to adopt.
We have a motion and second to approve Resolution 122124-I. Business Committee, is there any discussion? All righty. All those in favor of approving 122124-I, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, the motion carries. 122124-I is approved. Okay, that gets us through new business. We're going to move on to donations. The very first one is Oklahoma Special Olympic Games, their Winter Games. Is there anyone in person, or on the phone, or on Zoom, or some way to speak to this item? All right, we're moving on. So the next one is the Quapaw After Prom, Krista Foster and Amanda Garner. Please go on up to the podium. Wonderful, thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board.
Good morning.
My name is Krista Foster. We are seeking a donation to help provide a safe and fun environment for the junior and senior high school students to have a place to go after their prom. The high school junior and senior students make up approximately around 100 students. 89 of those students are Native American tribal members. 14 of them are Quapaw tribe members. We are seeking $2,500 in donation to help us reach our goal of $15,000. We have raised $7,500 of that $15,000 with numerous other fundraisers. So I appreciate you listening to our request, and thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Krista, and for your fundraising efforts. We always like to hear about that.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to donate $500 toward the Quapaw High School after prom.
All right, we have a motion and a second to make a donation of $500 to the Quapaw High School after prom. Business Committee, are there any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries, and the donation in the amount of $500 is approved. Thank you. All right, now we're going on to Native American Law Student Organization, Ani Jennings. Do we have, I know she's not in person, do we have her on the phone? Okay. You want to just hold it up to the microphone? Hopefully we'll be able to hear her. Put her on speaker.
First and foremost, thank you for considering this request. I am a tribal member, obviously, and I'm a student at Stanford Law School, where I am one of three presidents of the Stanford Native American Law School Association. We hold an annual gala event, which is purposed with networking with students and connecting students to different firms and legal opportunities and celebrating Native Americans at Stanford Law School. We're building our Native American program at Stanford Law School and our Indian law program. We have the first tribal member, Elizabeth Reese, who is the premier Indian law scholar and tribal law scholar specifically in the nation at our school, and she's really helped to facilitate the growth of our program at Stanford Law School. Stanford Law School is a very small law school. We only have about 160 per class, and there are 3 classes, each first, second, and third year. And out of that small group, we have around 15 to 20 Native students, and we have a lot of Native American alumni who have gone into Indian law across the country and have done some really remarkable things. So this gala that we are hosting is going to be a celebration of our community that's growing and help connect our Native students with different legal opportunities and help build this network of Indian law scholars and professionals, and our alumni will also come to this gala. The gala total budget is $40,000. We are fundraising with different corporations and law firms, and there are different levels of sponsorship. What I have requested is that the nation sponsor my request at the highest, the diamond level sponsorship, but if that's, there's room for adjustments if that's needed, and the highest level diamond sponsorship essentially would allow for the nation to have our tribal logo on all of our programming material, on every single table and program at our gala. And it would also allow the nation to send 2 representatives from Quapaw Nation, whether that be our legal counsel or members from the business committee, to come and meet and network with Stanford Law professors and students and alumni who all come. And it would be the first time that a tribal nation has sponsored a student gala at Stanford Law. Each affinity group, so the Black law student, the Native American law student, the women in law student group, we all have our own galas, and this would be the first time that a tribal nation has been involved. So I would be very honored if Quapaw could be the first tribe to do this, and I appreciate consideration of any donation to this event. That is very important to me as I embark on my legal career in my second year.
Thank you, Ani. We sure do appreciate that, and we're real proud of you as a Quapaw tribal member. So we're so thrilled that you're at Stanford.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move to donate $500 to the Native American Law Student Organization at Stanford Law School.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for a donation in the amount of $500. Business Committee, are there any other questions or discussion?
I would just like to.
Sorry, just to make a quick correction. The donation request that I had, I don't know if there's any confusion. I had requested 5,000, just to clarify.
Yes, thank you. Member Davis?
Yes, I was just wanting to know if you'd had an opportunity to reach out to, and I don't know, let me just say this first. I don't know exactly what the criteria is as far as sponsorships for events from the casino, but have you had an opportunity to reach out to Downstream or Saracen for, additional funding for this event?
Sponsorship.
For
I have not.
sponsorship.
That actually would be a preferred mode of donation. What I had understood is that this would need to be approved by the business committee first. I think due to some of the taxation policies around this event and being a diamond level sponsor to get all of these privileges, Stanford law does put some restrictions. And I actually think that donation through the casinos would be the most easy way to do this with the taxation laws around and regulations around this type of donation.
Thank you. So I think I love that suggestion, Member Davis. I mean, we can do something to a limited extent on here in the tribal government side, but we can absolutely forward this on to our casinos as well for their consideration at a higher level. Okay.
Does that sound okay to you, Ms. Jennings?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great, and I think that could be easier as well for working with some of the nation would get some kind of tax benefit write-off. I don't know how that works with the governmental status and donating to the law school. So I think that would be more beneficial to one of the casino enterprises, just because they would be able to benefit, from my understanding, a little bit more from this tax write-off.
Thank you for your understanding. Great. So we still have a motion on the floor for a donation in the amount of $500. Any further discussion, Business Committee? All right. I just want to say before we proceed to the vote, this is for the $500 from the tribal government. In no way does that impede or inhibit or harm the consideration by the gaming facilities. Okay?
Correct. Thank you.
I just want to make sure everybody understands that for purposes of voting. All those in favor of approving the $500 donation to the Native American Law Student Association, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All righty. The $500 donation is approved, and then, Ani, we will also be in contact with you, and we'll get it on to the gaming facilities.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I know it's early there on the West Coast. All right, the next we have is Commerce High School after prom. Kira Luttrell. Since Zoom is not working, do Brent any luck in getting her on the phone? I'm more than happy to proceed to the Miami High School after prom since Jody's in person. Yes, so let's go on. Judy Moreno. Jody Moreno, my apologies. Anybody here to represent for Miami High School after prom? All right, so we're going to scratch that one. All right, let's go on to the Native American Church of Oklahoma, Terry Yazzie.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair and Quapaw Nation. I'm here this morning. I'm honored to be here and represent the Native American Church of Oklahoma as their activities committee coordinator. And we're here to make sure that our future generation will be able to still go to the gardens. So we do have an attorney that went ahead and purchased the property, and in return they have deeded that entire property to the Native American Church of Oklahoma. So right now we're just trying to preserve that, and we were requesting a monetary donation or even any kind of meat to host, as we're going to have a gourd dance, a benefit gourd dance, March 22nd. And so we were, if not, we were also requesting maybe lodging or something for our head staff, but any type of donation would definitely be appreciated. And of course, the Quapaw Nation would be recognized as hosting if they were donating the meat. We do have tribal members, and part of our chapter here throughout Oklahoma, and our head staff as well. So there were some attachments that were enclosed, as well as the head staff for that event. And so that is all we are requesting at this time. Aho. Ganagay.
Thank you, Terry.
Madam Chair, I'd like to motion to approve a $500 donation to the Native American Church of Oklahoma, seeing as it is our parent organization to our own Devil's Promenade chapter, Quapaw chapter, and just trying to do something good for the folks, because that the Oklahoma chapter not only does these benefits and fundraisers around the state throughout the year, but they also help out all these different chapters, from firewood to providing medicine, peyote, to not only upkeeping and holding on to the home that the Oklahoma chapter has down there in the peyote gardens in southern Texas, but allowing each member or any chapter throughout Oklahoma, along with our own, to go down there and get it and bring it back, or make a simple call to help supply us. So I just want to say sure appreciate you for coming over here on behalf of not only our own chapter, but the Oklahoma chapter. It means more than what I can say. Just want to tell you that. Just leave it right there. So.
Second. All right, so we've got a motion and a second for a $500 donation to the Native American Church of Oklahoma Business Committee. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair, I would also like to, on behalf of the BC, donate 50 pounds of meat toward this, along with the $500 donation.
All right, so that's an amendment to the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so we've got an amended motion. Let's talk about the, see if there's any further discussion on the donation of 50 pounds of meat. Any further discussion on just the 50 pounds of meat? That's all we're voting on right now. All those in favor of amending the motion to include 50 pounds of meat, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, the motion carries, so we have approved the amendment. Now let's go back to the main motion of the $500. That is a live motion. BC, any additional discussion on the $500 donation? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation to the Native American Church of Oklahoma, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. So we have approved both the $500 donation as well as the donation of 50 pounds of meat. Okay. Thank you, Terry. All right. So let's go back to Commerce High School. Any luck, Mr. Devine? Okay. I'm telling you, these prom organizers are very early.
They get after it, don't they?
Awesome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Kira, and I'm calling with the Commerce After Prom. Good morning. We have raised 4,000 of the 13,000 we were trying to raise, and we would like any help you guys are able to give to us. We have about 120 students that will be attending After Prom without including their dates. I don't have an exact number of the Native students that we have. Of course, I didn't think to get that. I'm so sorry.
But I'm sure we know there are quite a few, including Quapaws.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I move to donate $500 Commerce High School After Prom.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a donation in the amount of $500. BC, are there any additional questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The $500 donation is approved. Okay.
Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go on to the Native American All-Star Game. Let's see.
Yeah, Rachel and her son are here.
Oh, Rachel, wonderful.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Rachel Craven. This is my son, Kyler Walker. He had an excellent season in football. He had 1,250.
Excuse me, Rachel, can you speak into the microphone?
Sorry.
You're kind of a low talker. People are having trouble hearing you.
He had 1,258 yards rushing. He led the district in yards rushing. He had 18 touchdowns. So he was invited to the Native American All-Star Game at Dallas Practice Stadium, the Star. And he had to send in highlight videos. He had to have a certain grade point average, and it was a really big honor. So he got accepted, and we had a short amount of time to get him there, and it'll be January 3rd through 7th, and then they'll have this game. Only 20 Native Americans from Oklahoma were accepted, so it's kind of a high honor.
That's wonderful. 20 from the entire state of Oklahoma. Congratulations.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to donate $500 toward this event, and I'm very proud of you, and I wish you the best in your athletic abilities and your future in football.
Second.
We've got a motion on the floor to approve a $500 donation. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? All right, let's go to the vote. All those in favor of approving the $500 donation for Kyler and the Native American All-Star Game, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries, and the $500 donation is approved. Kyler, and keep those grades up, too. All right, any luck with I Am Needed, Wendy?
All right, Wendy, you're on.
Okay. With I Am Needed, Wendy. Good morning. Happy holidays. Hello, Madam Chair and Business Committee.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy holidays. Hello, Madam Chair. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for having me. I'm so sorry that I'm not there in person. My intent was to be there, and I'm going to actually be there this afternoon. I'm bringing my dad to the elders dinner, and we were going to try to make a day of it, but it's a little bit long with his health and everything to get up that early and then be there and then through the dinner. So I made the decision just to hold off on that. But thanks for letting me talk on the phone and do it this way since Zoom wasn't working.
You're welcome.
So I'm asking for a donation. You guys have been generous in the past with my I Am Needed pajamas. What it is my charity that I do for cancer patients. After going through breast cancer myself and coming out on the other side, I wanted to find and do something to give back. And so pajamas were what I typically wore during my chemo treatment. So what I do is I get pajamas. I try to always find them on sale. Again, get donations. People, friends, family are always out looking for me. And then I take them and get them embroidered, which says I Am Needed. And then what I do is I have a special note, which is kind of for me, what brings it all together is about letting people know they're needed through this hard time, whether it be cancer or just any hard journey they're going through. And letting them know that, there's comfort and people are needed and, think for the positive and just kind of a good mindset for all. So that's kind of my charity, and that's what I do. I've been fortunate enough to give some pajamas out to the Quapaw tribal members, and my goal is to get more of that. I have reached out to Karen on the cancer committee. I would love to be a part of that committee, and I would love to find a way, whether it be putting my name, my organization on the website, something where people feel comfortable reaching out to me as a resource, and then I can get any tribal member a pair of pajamas. I'm sure there's a confidentiality, like I can't just say, hey, who has cancer, and then I send it out to them. So I would love to find that system to work where I could get that out and provide these to as many tribal members, friends, and family that I could. I also was hoping to help out, or again, at the raffles, like at our general council meetings and things like that. Donate pajamas. Put those in, and they're all bagged up real cute with a little note and a ribbon and all of that. So anything I can do to get these out and help more people is my goal. On my note, I do at the bottom say, donations provided by the Quapaw tribe, because you guys in the past have donated for me. So the cost is the pajama purchasing and then getting it embroidered. That's kind of the biggest cost for me. So again, any donations, any of that just helps offset my cost. So I'm just asking, I think in the past you all have done 500, anything that you can give to help me out and help get this out to tribal members. And then of course I'm in Kansas City. I give a lot to the Kansas KU Medical Center cancer patients as well. So if you have any questions or anything, please ask or let me know. I have all my receipts and all that kind of stuff that I keep up with. I know on the phone it's a little difficult, but I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, I do appreciate everything you've done in the past, and moving forward is just super, super helpful.
Wendy, I do have a question for you. How many pajamas were you able to give out this last year?
Sorry, repeat that again. I couldn't hear that.
How many pajamas were you able to give out last year?
I would estimate I gave out anywhere from 150 to, I'd say, 175. So like the hospital ones, I count and I take and all that, but I have a lot of people, they'll say, my mom's going through breast cancer, can you send a pair? My sister, and I don't always keep up with that as well. I would say that's anywhere from 20 to 30, because I just grab a pair, I get them bagged up, and then I send them out to whoever needs it. So I would say there's probably a 20 to 30 there that I didn't really keep great track of, because they're more my random people versus like when I get 30 pair, I bag them up, I take it to the hospital. I get another 30 pair, I bag them up, I take it to the hospital. Things like that.
Thank you, Wendy.
I do have an email that I put on there as well. My other goal is to get a website. I'm just not that tech savvy. I teach first grade, and I need to tap into the high schools or something. But that would be my next big goal, is to get a website where people can go in and they can donate, and then if someone needs a pair to send to someone, type of thing as well. That's kind of my big dream.
I don't have a question, Madam Chair, but I would like to make the comment that we were giving a pair a couple years back, I guess. Michelle was on the board, and I took that pair and gave it to a child in the hospital, and they had the biggest smile on their face. So it really makes, something as simple as a pair of pajamas really makes a big difference when you're trying to recover from cancer. And I make a motion we approve $500.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve a donation in the amount of $500. Business Committee, any additional discussion or questions? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries and the $500 donation is approved.
All right. Thank you all so much. And I look forward to seeing, hopefully I'll see a few of you or a lot of y'all tonight at the Elders Dinner. And again, I appreciate your time, and thanks for letting me jump on the telephone.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Next is this is the last donation question. Joplin Crusaders National Championship. And I think Mr. Sam Sturgis was originally scheduled to join us via Zoom. Oh, no, we're present. Wonderful. Thank you so much, since we're having technical difficulties this cold morning.
Thank you for having us this morning. Again, my name's Sam Sturgis. I'm with the Joplin Crusaders, and I've got a couple of guys that play for us. I played for 18 years. My dad was one of our coaches, and he passed away 4 years ago. And when he passed away, I decided to stop playing and coaching these fellas here. So we've got a couple tribal members. We actually have 3 on our team. We have just recently won our league championship for the 2nd year in a row. It had been 8 years since we'd won a league championship, but the last 2 years we've been kind of on a roll. So We've been awarded an opportunity to play for the national championship in Daytona Beach. Our cost for travel and just housing alone is roughly $25,000. That's about $500 per player. So we are basically just requesting to see if we can get any assistance to help with that. All of our coaching staff and players have been working hard to try to help find corporate sponsorship and whatnot. And we just started that push the last week after we got the word that we could actually get the bid to go. Right now, we've already raised $2,700. We're about close to 10% of the way there. So, yep, that's where we're at.
That's great.
Oh, we've been in an organization for 27 years. I don't know if I said that. I may have. So,
Thank you.
Chayton, will you be traveling for this game as well?
I'm going to try, yes, if I have enough time. I mean, obviously, it all depends on work and everything, but I would like to play. And it gives someone who's been and played college football, but not really, I guess, it gives me a chance to experience the travel, the experience playing with other people and playing in a different state, in a different environment, other than Oklahoma.
our game's going to be broadcasted as well. So we'll share that to our social media page at that point in time so people can watch the game back home.
Maybe we could even have a watch party. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Tailgate. Tailgate in the community building.
January 18th, so it's right around the corner. Thank you.
Same days.
Same day as special general council.
We'll put it on the big screen behind us.
What? Instead of, language changes on the Terra Code?
Get him!
Madam, oh, go ahead. Oh, Linda? Madam Chair, I would make a motion to donate $500 to sponsor each player.
So you're saying 500 for each Quapaw or each player?
Or each Quapaw player.
Each Quapaw player, and there are 3 of them? Okay.
I apologize. Yes, thank you for that clarification.
I'm
I
like-
just boosted your.
It's like we have 53 players. That'd be awesome.
I'm like, Linda D., I don't know that's going to get a second.
It's the Christmas spirit. I apologize.
From all 27 players, or 53 players.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Sick, yeah.
All right, so we've got it. Let's make sure we're all clear about this. So we have a motion and a second of a $500 donation for each Quapaw player on the team. Did I say that right? 3. For 3 Quapaw players. Okay, thank you. All right, Business Committee, any further discussion or questions?
No.
All right, all those in favor of approving the $500 donation for each of the 3 Quapaw players, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries, and the $500 donation for each of the 3 Quapaw players is approved. Thank you.
Good luck, guys. Hope you do well. That certainly
Jack,
didn't
real
come
quick.
out right.
Is there any way we could get a flag? We have a couple other tribes that we have players that are with Cherokee and with the Ottawa tribe that we're going to take pictures in the middle of the field after the game.
You betcha.
We can take care of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, so that concludes, have I missed any of the donations, Brent? I wanted to make sure so that we didn't, okay, thank you. So we're going to go on to open forum, so those rules remain in place. In order to speak, an individual must have submitted the form or must pertain to topics on today's agenda. There is a 5-minute time limit, 1 trip to the podium. Please be respectful, use the microphone. This month, no one submitted a form, so is there anyone who wishes to speak on a topic from today's agenda? Yes, Barbara.
Yes, I'm not sure where, what's her name? The girl, Wendy, where she's located for sure. but she mentioned that she had to pay for embroidery on her pajamas. I'd be glad to donate that and embroider those pajamas for her, but I don't know. I asked, and I think she's up by Kansas City. So
She's near Kansas City, and she will be here this evening at the Elders' Christmas party. That is wonderful.
Well, that may
Wonderful,
not
Barbara.
be, something that she might want to do all the time, but I'd be glad to embroider those for her at free of cost.
Okay. That is wonderful, Barbara. So we'll get you guys together, and we've got Wendy's contact information as well.
Okay. Then secondly, I'd have we just received, and Trenton may know more about this than the business committee. I know we have a lease with the tribe again lately. I think I got a monetary gain a little bit from that. I'm not sure, because the government, when they send out those checks, they don't ever put anything on there what it's for. So, but we have an issue, our family does. I noticed when I passed picture the other day when I went through there, it appeared as though Flint Rock Company was doing business again at their facility, and they had equipment and things that they looked like they were doing some chat work. I looked into it a little more, and it's not sure, because you can't ever get anybody at the BIA. The tribe ought to take over that BIA stuff for land, by the way. That's my suggestion. But anyhow, for sure, what company it is that's doing the work, if it's Flint Rock or if a subsidiary or someone that bought them out. But they owe us a lot of money. And the BIA has never seemed to be able to do anything about collecting that. Flint Rock went bankrupt, and they never reciprocated with any suggestion as to how we can get that. So I was wondering if the tribe could intervene and do something possibly to assist in that matter.
Yeah, what we can do is set up some time to make sure, because we do have a couple of very specific activities that are underway, and I'm not entirely sure if they're the same as what you're bringing up or entirely different, but I think a sit down would be in order to make sure, compare notes.
Well, I'm just a mouthpiece for the rest of the family, the kids that, nieces and nephews of other tribal members, as I have none, but since I'm the matriarch now, that TC passed, I try and take care of those kinds of things. And so this has been going on for a long while. And we'd like to, I'd like to, on their behalf, to have a resolve if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Oh, Grace, thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to my report about the trip to the Angel Mound Mounds. People who were at the event, the governor of Indiana was not able to be there, but he sent his chief of staff. We also had the museum's board chairman, Indiana University, the museum staff, donors, and some native people, including Shawnee and Miami. And we had a special guest. 90 years old, she was the descendant of the neighboring farmer who bought the land hundreds of years ago to keep the mounds from development. The land was then sold to the university. Later, the state became involved. For our involvement of the Quapaw, Carrie V. made opening remarks before the program started, including reading a letter from the chairman of our Quapaw people. And she invited everyone, and there were quite a few, to join with us in Quapaw smoking. Bill took care of that. And as mentioned, I was asked to speak. In addition to that, for the ribbon opening, cutting of the museum, I was asked to cut the ribbon, and I did. Thankfully, I had help because those scissors were huge. But we did it. So that was our involvement, and we are looking forward to continuing relationship with the museums in Indiana. O-gah-pah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Grace. Michelle?
Thank you. First, I was just going to suggest to Barb, maybe as far as the fall gathering, because I think it's a wonderful event, that maybe that they could consider having it outside again. I think it was fun for people to have the opportunity to camp. Talking, and maybe more in October, mid-October. These are just something I just would like consideration, but maybe not so close to Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, what? Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Perfect. Awesome. I think that will really grow the numbers, because I hope it does, because I know a lot of family being when it was the last couple of years in November, it's so close to Thanksgiving that, people, a lot of my family is like, well, I can't travel both home this weekend and come back this next weekend for Thanksgiving. So that'd be awesome, I think. The other something I think suggestion is that I was kind of concerned and with the donation request as far as the Native American Law Student Association. And I know where your heart is, Linda. I just suggesting that they ask the casinos as well. I know that we, in the past, it was kind of a real struggle because a lot of people ask for donations, not from just the tribe, but the casinos. And so we don't want to get back in the habit of people trying to ask all the above, all of our casinos, our tribe, for donations. So I just was concerned about that because I know we want to give more. I think it's all of these are great, but just something that was just kind of concerning to me, that we don't want to, I guess, open that door again to, allow people to want to ask from both. And also, I just have a quick question. Was there any changes to the social services guidelines this year, for next year, other than dates?
There were. Stephen, I probably won't come up with the full litany of lists, but one of the key ones, there was a previous practice where, let's say somebody is 65 or above, they had historically taken the form, allowed them to sign it once, and then that form just be utilized multiple times specifically for elders. But I think this year is the first time it's actually written in the guidelines. So the practice had been followed, but we're trying to get the guidelines to be exactly in sync with what's actually happening, just processing wise. And I may be missing some others, Steve, but that's one that stands out in my mind. Can you go to the microphone, please? Or share?
Thank you. That's all I have after that. Thank you.
We're also going to accept disconnect, late notices, and shut-off notices. Now, in January, because that is kind of overlapping those, we will actually accept the time frame from, if it's turned in January, back through the fiscal year of October, those 3 months, if they are. Just in January, and then move forward. But we will always, that way, disconnect, late notices, shut-off notices, we will start taking. That's new. Let's see. Also on the burial, you'll be able to get with social services, but you can purchase Pendletons with your $3,000 the burial, the family can. It just can't exceed that $3,000. So isn't tied to a number of Pendletons. You just can't exceed that dollar amount. Let me look here. We'll also send a floral arrangement to the family. That's been going on, but that's in here this year.
Meaning the practice was done, it just wasn't in the guidelines.
Yes. And how it's stated in here for the form, if you want to sign it and they'll keep it on file, is for the elders, for elderly and disabled, to help them. And like Chairman said, you just need to sign the bottom with your name, no date, they will fill in the additional information. Then it's easier, they can just send their bill in each month. So, I think those are all the changes. There is on the application too, where the family can check if they would like the front desk to be able to give the information that they have passed away at the front. We do have people that call from time to time and want to know if somebody's passed, so now the family will have to check mark that box for us to give any information out that they have passed away. I think that's all.
Thank you, Steva. Anybody else for open forum on topics from today's agenda? This is good. Member Mercer, could I ask you to close us out in prayer?
Father, we approach you today. We thank you for everyone that has come out and attended this meeting. We ask you to wrap your arms around those that have lost and are still suffering and in mourning. We also ask that you go with us as we leave today and give us safe guidance. Guide us all safely for those attending the elders party tonight. And we thank you very much for our health. We thank you for this day. It is a good day. In your name we ask.
Chair, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. 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 All those opposed?